Hello, it's David again. In our second video, we're going to be sharing our the deliverables for our 2021 enhanced customer care lifetime value system. It's actually 100. It's a 125-day action plan. It includes video, printed matter, and media. And in those 125 days, you will have uh, 24 by 7 access, time, uh, accessibility with me so that we can properly develop your own personal system. So, the development of this was a lot of fun because I took things from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000, and took the most successful things that happened in those years, in those decades, and put them together, pulling a best of, and pulling them all together for our 2021 system. We are creating thousands of customer touch points. And it all starts with that customer touch point, either a current customer or a future customers of yours. It starts with that touch point. So our plan, our system is designed to generate thousands of customer touch points. In terms of printed matter, this was kind of interesting because I went back to a project that I did for myself. Well, actually, I didn't do it for myself. I paid somebody to do it for me back in those days. Uh, and it was a great. It was a great. I don't know. It was about a 2 year project with them. But I wrote chapter 23 in this book. It was published in 2011, and on the cover of the book was myself and my mentor, Brian Tracy, who I have been following for 20 years at least. And a situation was actually created in this whole event where I met him uh, to actually make things really come alive. But the point I want to make is that I, from this book came a booklet, smaller book, and this particular booklet was only my chapter 23 in the book. And so I used the mini book as a marketing tool for myself. And we mailed them. We used it as a business card back in those days. We had a lot of uses for them, and I suppose there were probably about, I don't know, probably about 5,000. I probably had 5,000 of those booklets back in 2011, 2012. And a very, very important part of the concept is the postcard. I have been using postcards for literally 50 years. Every single thing that I have done somewhere along the line, I want to make sure, at least 95% of every project, somewhere along the line involved a postcard. This was a postcard that I developed for myself in putting together our customer care lifetime value system. I think I did my first mailing of these. It was either late uh, 2020 or in the first quarter of 2021. And we used it. We tested different ideas. Key to this postcard, unlike the postcards that I did 50, 40, 30, 20 years ago, was the inclusion of a QR code, which uh, you are all, I'm sure, familiar with QR codes today. Not a new thing. They are probably about, they're probably, well, they're over 10 years old. You scan the QR code and it takes you to a web landing page. So then the other part of our system is a web landing page that we developed. It's a different concept in marketing and sales. We actually started developing those pages in very early in 2020. And I probably have produced 25 or 30 of those pages for my own usage. And I've brought in folks along the way who help provide content to make those pages very, very informative with information so that people could learn something. There was something of value on those web landing pages that were developed. In the program in the system that I have been developing, I just kind of arbitrarily chose the number 20,000 of these booklets and 20,000 postcards. The postcards would be used to um, obviously share the book, uh, but more importantly, take the recipient to a web landing page. Oh, by the way, thank you for 19 minutes of your time. People have been questioning me about why did I use that particular theme, and that actually goes back to one of the absolutely most memorable marketing and sales experiences of my lifetime, and that's when I started a magazine from zero in 1970. Well, we started development of it in 78. It was published in 79, and in 11 editions, that magazine became profitable, and a good part of, wow, a very strong reason for the profitability is that the customers that got involved in that particular project became part of a project. They weren't buying an ad. I guess that's the main difference of what I am doing today versus what I did 50 years ago. Uh, I started my career selling ads. And after a while, it started to make sense to me that it wasn't about selling ads. It should be about developing a community that worked together collaboratively in a very systematic kind of way. So very early on, that's when I started to develop communities. And in fact, um, the very first community that I built after I started publishing in in, in the 73 phase of my life, we built an extremely strong community of about 150 folks, businesses who understood the concept of marketing and sales versus advertising. Uh, proper marketing and sales campaigns are your advertising. You don't need to do anything else. And then publishers today will tell you that, because all printed publishers today must have a digital footprint in order for their publications to stay alive. So we just brought it up to 2021 enhanced customer care and lifetime value enhancements. Folks do not understand, and it's been my message for 50 years, is measuring customers by the lifetime value that they create, the lifetime value, the friendships that are nurtured. I still have limited, very limited communication with that very first, with folks who were in that very first community that I built in 1974. That community. So we've got the booklets, we've got postcards. I will create your unique web landing page for you in much the same way that I created it for myself. We only use your content. What is unique to you? And there's a very specific, defined formula. We start with a conversation between two folks. It could be two folks, three folks, four folks. It moves on to the expert sharing their knowledge and information. And then the final section happens to be somewhat of an endorsement by myself, as I share my feelings about what that individual or group of individuals have done to impact the critical thinking that is needed today as we rebuild and redevelop our businesses. So I'll create one expert web landing page. I will produce 3 60-minute small business conversations with individuals, yourself, individuals in your organization. You pick who those individuals are, obviously, but I will do 3 60-minute videos where we have this conversation, so we can develop a theme, your theme, in each one of those 3 videos to make your web landing page of greater value to those individuals who come to your page. I will produce, if you so desire, because I do it all the time. I will produce weekly Zoom rooms using Zoom technology. And they're not the only technology that I use in the live streaming that I do. I use a lot of technologies, but I have used Zoom. I will produce Zoom rooms for you, specifically created and developed for your customers or your prospects. And we will produce during that 125-day period, we can produce 1 a week of those Zoom rooms for you. A part of this value system is that your investment in your system will also include 50 scholarships and maybe more scholarships if you twist my arm a little bit to our Institute for New World Creative Marketing and Sales. Those scholarships can be folks in your organization. But what will happen, what will evolve is learn how to, that I have done, and they can do it for themselves, or they can do them for anybody. So in effect, they could be developing business for themselves by understanding how to develop one of these web landing pages. And that's what they learn in the institute. Institute led by myself, so that they too, those folks will have access to me for the entire time of your 125-day action plan. And then at this point, it's hard for me to keep the proper number, but you will have unlimited Power by You exposures, either verbal exposures in the videos that we do, or in writing, sponsored by, hosted by, type, greetings, taglines. You determine how, but there'll be a tremendous amount of them with all the various things that we do. So that's where we create the thousands of customer touch points, current customers and or new customers. That's pretty much what it is that our system includes. There might be variations on the theme, if you will, that you would like to pursue discussions with me about that. I invite those kinds of interactions. And by the way, at the very bottom of this web landing page is a form, very, very simple form. Fill out the form. And when you hit the submit button, it comes directly to me. I'm the only one that reads those responses so that I can react accordingly. If that message is a question, a concern, an idea that you would like to share with another individual who has had a conversation with me in a video, you send that form comes to me, and within 90 seconds of me receiving the form, that individual will receive it. So that's thank you for, actually it's been almost 19 minutes of your time. Thank you for 19 minutes of your time. It's been a lot of fun, and I obviously cordially invite you to view the third video below, which is a personal, there's a disclaimer, a personal disclaimer, and a personal guarantee in that video that it is my honor to share with you. I'll see you there.